Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another week of Let's Talk Lorcana. Tonight, I'm not sure for those of you who are joining us, if you heard, I am flying solo. This evening, Liam is hanging out with our little one in the room next to us, I think watching live as well. But we really appreciate everybody joining us tonight. We're so excited for a special episode of Let's Talk Lorcana, where we are going to have a women's roundtable talking about the game, women playing Lorcana. So if you have a woman who is new to Lorcana and wants to learn more from other women who are super passionate about this game, please send them the link. We would love for them to join us this evening. And yeah, also throughout the stream, please feel free to drop any questions for our panel in the chat. I'll be monitoring it, and then Liam will also be monitoring it on our Illumineer channel, so he might respond to some things. But anyway, I'm super excited to welcome our fantastic panel. First up is a longtime friend of the channel and Lorcana artist, Giulia Riva. Hey, Giulia.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited to have you back so soon, too. You were here just last week, so thank you for joining us again. Next up, we have the dynamic duo, the ladies behind Live Laugh Lorcana, Katie and Becky. So good to see both of y'all. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Next up, we have another longtime friend of the channel, Stephanie from Lorcana Illumineers. Hey, Stephanie, thank you for joining us this evening.
Super excited.
Finally, we have a super special guest, a celebrity in our Lorcana community, and one of the hosts behind Lorcana Academy, Zenaide Beckham. Thank you so much, Zenaide, for joining us.
Thank you for that fabulous intro. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. For those of you who don't know, Zenaide is new to our channel. This is her first Let's Talk Lorcana stream. But for those of you who were either at Gen Con or maybe following Gen Con, Zenaide is the fantastic woman behind the incredible Tinkerbell cosplay from Gen Con. And so I'm sure we will have questions for her about that and her cosplaying as well. So again, thank you all so much for being here. And everybody who's watching, please bear with me as, again, I am new to running the stream. Liam normally runs it, so I might hit a wrong button at some point, and we're going to just go with the flow. So anyway, I wanted to get us started tonight talking a little bit about kind of the history of gaming and where we're at right now. So during the Berlin pre-release event, Ryan Miller gave a speech, and we're going to watch a little bit clip from that here in a second, where he talked about making Lorcana a more diverse and inclusive game. So I'm going to pop that up really fast. We'll watch that, and then we'll talk about his thoughts.
And we do right off the bat that we wanted kind of two big groups. We wanted trading card gamers to enjoy and love our game and take it and be able to take it seriously. But we also feel that we're going to get a lot of Disney fans who may have never played a trading card game before. And we wanted to give them something that was accessible and easy to pick up. And so we kind of came up with these four goals that are going to probably sound pretty obvious, but this is where we started. The two most obvious ones is we wanted to be fun and strategic. I always say that folks come for the fun, but they stay for the strategy. I think that's especially true in trading card games. But we also wanted to be accessible for those new trading card game fans, and we also wanted to be inclusive. And what we mean by that is that trading card gaming has been very male-dominated, and we feel like with this game we have a chance to change that.
So my question for our roundtable to get us started is, so I do feel like in the past that TCGs and gaming in general we've seen a lot more men in the community than we have women. And I wanted to talk a little bit with this group about why do we think that is and kind of what we think Lorcana is doing to help break down those barriers. So I'll kick it over to, I guess, Katie and Becky, since you're kind of like in my top right. Do you have any thoughts around this?
Sure. For so long, games have really kind of catered to that male gaze. I mean, Katie was a Flesh and Blood player, and I feel like so much of it is like war and gore and things like that. And of course, we see like sexualized women and all that kind of stuff throughout gaming is really perversive. And I feel like Disney is such a fairly wholesome IP, so I feel like it's much more comfortable for a lot of women to come into that.
Yeah, and I think part of it also is just kind of the nature, like women are socialized to kind of be people pleasers a little bit. So there's something very intimidating about like a one-on-one game where only one person can win. And I do think some women initially feel very uncomfortable in that setting. And I think it's something you get used to over time. I certainly did. But I think one of the ways Lorcana is kind of like breaking that down is in their league, where they're really encouraging like casual play and like training and showing up to like talk about Disney first.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I mean, I think that there's something to be said. I know me personally, like when I met Liam and I kind of started getting into gaming for the first time, and still to this day, I love cooperative games where it's like everybody's gonna win or lose together. It is super intense going up against like another player. Oftentimes, a guy. I feel like at most of the even Lorcana events I've been to at this point, and having that like one-on-one competition, especially when you're new to the game, it can be a little intimidating. So I totally get that. Giulia, I know, so you are like super new to trading card
Brand
games.
new.
You haven't even played Lorcana, but you've helped create it, which is fantastic. Do you have any thoughts behind like in your life experience why you think we see more men in this space than we do women, and how Lorcana is working to change that?
So I know nothing about why historically that's the case, but I definitely had an idea of what the target was going to be when I got into this.
Yeah.
And it's pretty male dominated, at least where I'm from. Like I have yet to see a child play Lorcana. But I know that like from the perspective of someone that is very new, I'm also shy, so I probably don't count. But for me, it was intimidating to even enter a store and look to see whether or not they have my cards. Because a couple of times I've done it, I definitely feel like that's not my place. There is a specific aura the moment I enter a store. And I mean, if I get that from just going in and buying the product, is probably not the best setup to start playing the game. So yeah, I don't honestly know how you could fix something like this, but I definitely know that it's probably one of the reasons why the target stays, not the target, but like the current audience stays so male.
Yeah. I mean, does anybody else have any thoughts around that dynamic? Yeah, no. I mean, please, everybody, jump in. Like,
These are all great thoughts. I just wanted to let everybody finish their thought first, because I'm a completely different person. I'm extroverted as opposed to shy. I've been in card games for 10 years and playing board games and other just like regular Pinnacle Hearts, cribbage my entire life. So I've been like in gaming, in Magic the Gathering for a long time. So I think the thing that Lorcana has to get women or other genders involved besides men is that we all know the characters. If we've grown up with Disney, it's already something where we don't have to learn what's a barbarian class or what does, if that's not what you're interested in and you haven't sought out that type of fantasy game, if that doesn't appeal to you, we were shown these Disney characters as kids, and whether or not you fell in love with them instantly or just have some familiarity where you can be like, oh yeah, the Little Mermaid, like I know who Ariel is most likely. So I think that brings a lot of people in. And working at a game store, I've seen a lot more couples come in. I have seen a child come and play at our Lorcana League. Our gathering is still pretty small, about 6 people, as the product isn't super available. But I love that. I have seen more ages similar to Pokemon and a variety of people, both young and old, that are into Pokemon, where Magic, Flesh and Blood, One Piece, some of those games you need to be a little bit older and more into the older pop culture in order to get hooked onto those games and really invest in the community, which could be male dominated.
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, you're like near one of the biggest game stores I feel like in the country. So love.
Yeah. So yeah, the Pacific Northwest. Actually, it's funny. Someone did the math, and per capita, the Pacific Northwest has more LGSs than most regions in the United States, and I think that's because it rains a million days a year. And so everyone is a gamer. I kid you not. So I have kind of my choice of LGSs, which is really nice. So I found I would say 2 that I think the vibe is really great for supporting a more diverse crowd. So I'm super excited to get in them. But the ones that I would say that I've definitely walking into some, and it is all men at Lorcana events. And I am just like legit surprised. And I think that's because the LGS itself has geared other TCG events towards men in general. And so it's just kind of this like natural progression. And some of the LGS staff or owners don't know how to break out from their marketing and B, like their normal group. So that's going to be interesting to see how they hopefully start reaching out and encouraging a wider audience. But I think there's definitely some LGSs in our area, at least, that are really doing a great job of catering to families. And I think a big part of that, especially with like kids, I'm hoping to see like a little mini Lorcana League. But trade nights are super big. That gets people coming in. That those are like super fun just to build a relationship. And if people are like, yeah, I'm not really interested in playing, like, hey, well, here's a deck. You can borrow one of mine. Let's play together. I can teach you. And like, that's been super fun to get people hooked up. And I also think just all of us showing up and seeing like younger women and or different genders being like, oh, they're playing. I can do that too. Because I remember when I used to play Pokemon, I was like, oh, there's another like 1 woman of 100 men. Like, but at least I saw that person, and representation is super important. So I think the first step is us showing up and playing. And I think that'll hopefully like bring some more people in. So I'll stop talking so someone else can jump in.
I think you're totally right. I also would find the one woman in the sea of 900 men presenting people and be like, oh, hi, I just wanted to introduce myself. And the more people that have courage to go out to game stores and make that first move, or have owners of game stores or employees that are enthusiastic, the more other people will feel welcome and like they can come and play.
Yep. Yeah. And I like Amanda's comment that she just said that LGS owners, male owners specifically, need to realize that women are interested in Lorcana and are a viable market to other TCGs. And that is 1,000% true. There's a ton of marketing data on that. I won't go into the numbers, but like you're missing a whole millions of dollars if you don't reach out to other genders, just as a baseline. Yeah.
I think, starting, even here, like starting tonight and bringing a bunch of women together to show that there is like different faces interested in this game. If you haven't like, gotten up to go to your local LGS, if you're watching this and you see that there are faces that, hopefully look a little bit like yours and know that like we're there, we're playing, we're excited for this game and want to like welcome you and bring you into this community. But I want to take this opportunity, as Liam always jokes about, he's like the king of segues. I am not, but I found a segue and I'm going to take it. So talking about LGSs, let's talk about how LGSs and just community centers, like where people come together to play this game, what are our suggestions? And the chat, again, please let us know what your suggestions are about making these spaces more inclusive and welcoming to other genders, and just other people in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't even have to like break this down into genders. Like, what can LGSs do to make a place more welcoming and inclusive, so people feel safe? Any thoughts?
The number one thing is you need to provide a clean bathroom. This is just something that every business needs to know. And unfortunately, there are game stores that have been around and in their ways for a long time. But it's time to make sure that there's some clean areas provided.
And like a gender neutral bathroom, because it's like not
Yeah.
uncommon to have one bathroom labeled men. That still happens some places. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very practical.
Had to be said.
You know, our LGS owner, when we lived up in Washington, which I'm hoping maybe she'll join us on the stream soon. But it's so great when you go into her bathroom, she has like tampons available and like all of these things, and like in her bathrooms are gender neutral, and like she has like items that are helpful for those of us who have sporadic things pop up in the middle of the month. You know, when you're sitting there for 5 hours playing a game or something like that. Another thing that I've become super passionate about in, you know, the last 5 weeks is a space to nurse your child. That would be amazing in a game store. Like, just a space that is not the bathroom to like nurse your child, because you know, our daughter can totally go to the game store. She does relatively well, but I'm on like a 2.5 hour clock before I gotta wrap it up and get it out, which means I can't even stay for our full league night. I'm there for like an hour and I'm like, okay, gotta go home because there's nowhere to nurse her. So I don't know, bringing that one.
That would be like the ultimate inclusive, like bathroom, bathroom, gender neutrals, and then that would be like the ultimate, like.
I'm shooting for the stars here.
Hey, even some places of work don't even have it. Technically, if there's a woman on staff, legally they have to provide it.
Yes.
So there should be one technically.
Giulia, for you, you mentioned earlier that you were nervous about going into your own local game store to even see if they carry the cards that you've created. What are some of those barriers in your head that make you maybe feel not as welcome and open?
I think clean bathrooms are great, but it might entirely be a matter of my area. I am in Italy currently, and maybe there is a different culture connected to TCGs. But I would just like not to be stared at when I enter the store. Like, that would be nice, like a very good entry point to make it more accessible. Because again, like, I am entering this game as a person that has never played, but I had like a door in, like I was an artist. And even then, entering a store and being there as an artist is like, I am the only girl here. Maybe my friend that is with me, it is just the two of us, and we're getting stared at, probably from even outside the store. Like, even before we get in, there is a bit of like, why are they here? So I don't even know how you fix that, because you can't really control people's looks. But it would be welcoming not to feel like you are a new thing entering a space that you don't belong. And it sounds like in the US you're doing a little bit better though. So I'm talking for my area of the world.
I think it depends on the game store you go into.
Yes, agreed.
Has anybody seen the Big Bang Theory episode where Penny goes into?
Oh my gosh, yes, the comic book store, and everyone's like, boobs.
Yes. Yeah, sometimes y'all haven't seen that, like, YouTube search Big Bang Theory penny comic book store, and yes, that is that feeling, Giulia. Sorry, Katie.
No, but it's definitely how I feel. Like I don't want to in any way make a stereotype out of comic stores, but that's my experience. I haven't entered that many, but that has been my experience so far. So, like, even going in and asking, do you keep Lorcana product? Like, can I access any? And mind you, in Italy is not officially sold. There isn't an Italian version yet, so that is doing a lot. But even going in, like the 5 minutes it takes me to go in and ask if they have any product, there's eyes on me. It would be lovely if that wasn't the case.
You should just bring all your cards you made and be like, look.
Yeah, I think I got a little bit more like accepted the moment they figured out I was one of the artists. Then it was like, okay, fine. There is a reason why you're in
You're
here.
in the club.
Like,
But you shouldn't even have to say that, right? You shouldn't even
exactly.
have to. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, can I just be in this space? So
Yeah.
I think that's definitely a bit of a hostile environment, at least where I'm from.
Katie,
I think
Becky,
it's still like that.
Oh, sorry. Katie, Becky, I think I saw Katie, you were going to say something a minute ago. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, I think any signage, I think something we've talked about is like any signage you can have to like say like it's an inclusive space is a good sign.
And simple. Yeah. An easy thing to do.
This is an interesting question with these 5 women on the chat. Like, and thank you so much, Stephen, for engaging in the chat. I mean, first of all, I would not consider us celebrities, but I appreciate you using that word. But does that make you feel more comfortable because often sometimes our LGSs like recognize us when we go in, or does it make us even more uncomfortable? Thoughts?
It's a great question. I've definitely had 1 or 2 people recognize me at an LGS. And I would say one time it made me feel uncomfortable, but the other time it didn't. And the time it didn't make me feel uncomfortable, I was like really happy because this person brought their daughter. And so they were like, oh, there is, and so I got to just connect with them about like, yeah, women play this game. And like, so that was like, that made me feel like really good and like, help them like have their kids play now. And then, their daughter could stay and hang out. So, I would say for the most part, it's a good thing. Yeah.
What about Zenaide? I'm sure you get recognized in your LGS.
I work at my LGS, so I have kind of a unique perspective where I am carving out and creating a space for other people to come and feel safe. I also foster part of a group, She Sparks, which is promoting inclusivity for women and other people in Magic because representation does matter. And having talks like this right now, us collaborating, this is an example of everything that I like doing. It's like, this is literally going to inspire someone to pick up Lorcana after they see it. But so I definitely feel like when I go into other game stores, when I'm traveling, not everybody recognizes me when I go in. If they play Magic, they might, but usually I like have to talk. I feel like I have to throw some lingo around, like drop a name of the set, the first chapter, throw out, do you have any like amethyst binder, I can look at or something like that. And then they're like, oh, she knows, but I do feel like I kind of have to provide some of that to like get the other people who are interacting with. Yeah, it's like, I do know what I'm talking about. Like I go here, but now you'll have a conversation with me. Great.
I have to do that all the time. It's so frustrating. I feel like for me, I have my security blanket of my male counterpart that I'm normally going into my LGS with. And I will say that Liam gets recognized more than I do because he's on all of our like YouTube thumbnails. So he's always like, oh, you're the guy from YouTube. And then he's like, yes, and this is my wife, Erin. And they're like, oh yeah, sure, whatever. So I'm like, hey, which is fine. I can fly under the radar that way. But I totally get what you're saying, Zenaide. So many times I have been in an LGS and had, I feel like I don't want to drop this word, but like I've been mansplained so many times. Yep. And what my favorite thing is when it's being explained to me incorrectly. And I'm like, that is not actually the rule. That is, when they're like talking to me and they're like, yeah, purple and yellow. And I'm like, those are not the colors, but good try. Anyway,
you're doing it wrong.
Now I'm just ranting.
Rants are good.
Yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on like how to create? And again, in the chat, please let us know if you have thoughts on how to create this welcoming space for people to feel included in the game.
So we have a LGS that we frequent that's, I don't know how, what's their secret, Katie? We usually have at least a third of participants are minority gender, and the atmosphere is very casual, and that's kind of what what's it called? Ryan, what is Ryan's job?
Tournament organizer?
Yeah, the tournament organizer kind of credits that to being kind of like a casual atmosphere, and he's found that that makes it more welcoming, more opening.
Mm-hmm.
We do like a best of 1 in 30 minutes instead of a best of 3 in 50, and it allows people to have more time to learn and do things, and they offer starter decks people can borrow, and just trying to create kind of like that casual, to appeal to a casual kind of space. And we found that like so many LGSs can do tournaments really well and competitive play really well. But I think we kind of hit on this a little earlier that, women tend to gravitate. I mean, totally lots of competitive women, but, new players try to gravitate towards those more casual spaces.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. I went to a casual play a couple of weeks ago, and the guy, it was a best out of 3, but it was casual play. And so I was like, it's not really best out of 3 because it's casual play and it doesn't really matter who wins, or it shouldn't. But, the guy at the end of the hour was like, oh, I'm going to go tell them like that I won 2 out of 3. And I was like, I don't know. It felt intimidating, and it kind of made me clam up a little bit. So I think what I love about casual play is like, I mean, obviously you have to keep score within the game. Somebody has to win and lose. Right. But like overall, just being there and playing and getting in, we talk a lot with more competitive players on the show, and they're always talking about getting reps in. And it's like, I would just love to go and just get reps in. And it doesn't matter if I won 10 games that night or 2 games that night. We're just, playing throughout the evening. Right. So,
yeah, I think especially right now, like you all were saying, how LGSs having actually decks is super important, because there is like 0 product. Like oh my gosh, it's insane. I'm sure that's happening to all of you, but like people aren't coming because like they don't have cards, and there is definitely some known scalpers in my area that people are like, all right, if you see them, you know what I mean? So I think that's really important, is like, if they like, make it known that there are decks to play and everyone can come. And so I think that's really important.
I love this question from Heath, which is basically like, how can we've talked about, I feel like we've talked a lot about like what is wrong and then what stores can do, but what can other people in the community do to make these environments more welcoming to minority genders and just minority players in general?
You need to go up and make the first move to people who you see, whether they look comfortable or look lost. It's your job as an ambassador to the game. If you want more people to play and enjoy it, you kind of need to make the first, sometimes hard move to say, hey, I did bring 2 decks with me. Do you just want to sit down and play? Oh, you haven't learned even how to play yet because you don't have cards? Would you like me to teach you? We could just take 15 minutes to do it. I think that's what we as a community have to do to make spaces more inclusive.
1,000%. Reach out.
Absolutely.
And if you don't have someone at your local store, I know you could reach out to several of us online and probably get replies. The community is out there and wanting to play and talk.
Yeah. I think, and I also will add to that, like the Discord, if you're on Discord, like you can always reach out on Discord and ask if if anybody knows of a Lorcana community in your community. And I know some, here in Austin, we actually have a local Austin Discord specifically for Lorcana. And so I know that those are now popping up around the country, and you can meet other people who are interested in playing even outside of an LGS, swap product if other people in your community were lucky enough to get it. So feel free to reach out to any of us. We will help and guide you through it. Any thoughts, like Katie, Becky, Giulia, about suggestions for how people can be better allies for new players or minority players?
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the big things we always talk about is playground rules. So like when someone comes in, say hi, smile and say hi. That's a really good way to say, hey, you're welcome here. Like ask them questions about themselves. We love like a see you next week when the person leaves, like we valued you being here and please come back. And if you play someone and they seem like really nervous and they're like fumbling and they're scared, clearly, just be like, I really enjoyed playing with you. I hope I get to play you again. Just like these really simple things you can say.
Be a kind human.
Yeah. That would help. Wish we didn't have to say it sometimes.
Who knew?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say another thing we talk about is also just like kind of treating everyone like they're coming in the door to play. I know when I walk into I'm sure you all know, and like we've been talking about when you walk in and people stare at you and they don't know what you're there for, just assume everyone's there to play and like start engaging with them about the game. I think it really makes a difference.
Yeah, it seems like a silly thing to suggest, but I think it really does the difference. Like if I feel like I'm an outsider and I'm not expected to be here, I will not be back. If you treat me as you treat anyone else, it would be really nice. Like I would be way more inclined to come back.
I love this idea as well. Sorry, I'm looking at the chat. Playing in fours as well, I think breaks down that intimidation factor. Additionally, I know not to like plug our other videos, but I'm about to. Liam and I made a video about how to play with 4 players, but on teams. And that, I think, for me as well, I love playing that way because I get to play the video we made. You'll see us playing a game, and I'm playing on a team with my brother-in-law, who is an experienced veteran TCG player, a person that I adore and I know will not judge me for asking a really stupid question in the middle of a game. And it just makes it so much less intimidating knowing that like I have a buddy, and somebody who is there like live coaching me through that game. And you can definitely do that during casual play, even if it's like 1v1, but having that team member with you in that 4-player format, I think is an awesome way to learn.
Yeah, our LGS sometimes does 4-player, or they have the option to every week, and it's nice. Sometimes they like will assign teams, and it's great that you get to like meet new people and stuff like that, or with different groups. And I think it's like a really fun way to do things.
Yeah, and I've heard so many like women who are new players in that saying that's their favorite way to play, and I think it's because it breaks down that intimidation factor.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I'm sure we're going to continue to talk about this like woven throughout the rest of it, but I did want to kind of turn our attention because we have an amazing opportunity having Giulia here. I want to talk and turn a little bit about looking at building community even outside of the players and the importance of bringing the artists into the conversation and recognizing them as a part of our community. I think that that's so unique around TCGs. And yeah, wanted to kind of talk about like having Giulia here and how we can as a community invite the artists to join us on this journey as well. So any thoughts on that?
I would just love to make a cosplay out of one of your cards and get feedback on it. And just like, you know, because you can never see sometimes the back of certain characters. Like, even if we have our Disney characters and we know what they look like, but some of these characters have more uniqueness to them. So look at that, like the wardrobe. I don't know something crazy like that, something silly.
Julia, do you know there's a whole Twitter account dedicated to the wardrobe?
I know, we've been introduced.
Okay.
Yes.
Good.
We actually had the wardrobe and Giulia on Let's Talk Lorcana last week.
Okay.
So if you haven't seen even that like little 10-minute segment, it is fantastic.
It was my favorite thing.
That's amazing.
That's amazing.
No, but like I think for me, I mean, again, I'm very new, but I'm used to my work being part of a team, so it's never me being recognized as a maker of something because I come from animation, and TCGs are actually like new and I think very refreshing in that sense because there is so much recognition for the artist and so much like people are lovely. I get messages saying that they appreciate what I've worked on and oh my god, I have seen your cosplay before and I have been thinking about this for ages, like way before Lorcana, but I think that's the peak of my career. Like if anyone ever makes a cosplay that was something I designed, I'm like,
we're gonna make it happen then.
So when I saw pictures of your Tinkerbell, like, how do you? I can't imagine that being a thing because it's such a one-to-one feedback you're getting. And it's not even a comment on like, oh, I love your card. This person took the time to build that cosplay. Yep. I think it's amazing. Like it's very welcoming in that sense as an artist. It's a very nice environment, actually.
Yeah. I think
it's great to hear people.
Oh, go ahead, Zenaide.
I was just going to say it's great to hear that you have so many messages in your inbox because that really shows that the community is out here and I feel the same way. Like when people appreciate my cosplay, I'm like, wow, I just do this because I see a piece of art and I think it's really cute and I love it. And like if that makes someone else feel that way too, and I'm just getting enjoyment out of it, I think that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
your Rafiki card is like so good.
Oh, it's my favorite.
Yeah, I totally love the cards, Zenaide. Oh, if you would do a Rafiki cosplay, that would be amazing.
I have done a cosplay with a monkey on my shoulder, so it wouldn't be like too far of a stretch.
I'd die before.
I hope you have some cards in the Rise of the Floodborn, but obviously you can't talk about that if you do, but I hope so.
Hopefully, yeah, we'll find out in the next
couple weeks,
2 months.
Yeah, less than that.
I think it's less.
Less.
So,
well, more the cards are being revealed, so we'll probably
out.
we'll probably know before. Yeah.
I actually don't know when it's released. Is it November?
November 17th for LGS.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so that's even, I'm forgetting that it's already October. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay. We should have the full spoiler at least 2 weeks before then, though. I would guess.
That's what they did last time. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm loving this. Zenaide, you're going to have to, it's now being called for.
Got to give the people what they want. I'll say you got to go comment it on the Lorcana Academy video then, because I just made a short asking what I should cosplay next. So you got to beat out Rapunzel with your Rafiki comments.
And Liam is calling for Giulia Riva spoilers. And this would be a good opportunity.
I don't even know how these spoiler things goes. I just wake up in the morning and there is new Twitter cards.
Yeah.
So,
that's kind of our experience as well.
Yeah.
We're just like, oh, new card.
I wish they had some sort of a posting schedule, or we had some sort of more idea when cards were going to drop.
It's so random. It's so random. Yeah.
Like
Live Laugh Lorcana got one revealed in their Discord.
We did.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we missed it.
Yeah.
They
So
like
that was
sneak
fun.
attack you.
Yeah, we did.
And then it was funny because Lorcana HQ was like, "Where is this card?" And everyone's like, "What? I can't find it. Who revealed this?" And I was like, "Their Discord."
Floating around in there.
Yep.
That's amazing. I'm just like, I know that there's a Madam Mim card out there, and if it does not get revealed in somewhere in our sphere, the little like me since last November, I've been asking for that card.
It looks like there's a couple, maybe, based on like the text. Yeah.
Yes, there is. I need one of them.
So
anyway,
it's gonna be cool to see.
Yeah. So that's been my steady drumbeat of like, I just need Madam Mim since last November. And anyway, okay.
I just want the
so going back to this, like talking about inclusivity and accessibility, Giulia, something I would love your thoughts on specifically, but everybody else's as well, is, I mean, you notice that even in the artist community for TCGs, it's very male dominated. And kind of what are your thoughts on why that is, and how like that could get opened up to other genders as well? I mean, let me just first say, Ravensburger has done an amazing job of representing artists from around the world. Like, amazing job, especially for a brand new TCG. I think we have 5 continents represented in the first chapter alone. 6, 5. Anyway, but what are your thoughts on kind of why it's such a male dominated field still, and how that might open up?
I don't really know the dynamic around TCGs because I mean, they literally just DM'd me. But that is my experience with the entertainment industry in general. Like, coming from animation, it is a male-dominated industry, and there are more and more women, and I have many female colleagues or other genders. But at least for animation, it's part of an historical thing, and it's also part of, I don't know, is it the patriarchy? I don't know. But like, it's very difficult for a woman usually to be in a leading position. At least that's my experience, and it happens more and more, but like, it's definitely not 50-50. So with TCGs, I don't know, because it's a very like one artist doing one thing. And I think Ravensburger is actually doing a great job within the team, at least in my experience. Like, I've witnessed like a lot of open, like there's of course men, but there's a lot of girls and there's other genders. And I really appreciate that. I think that's, I don't know, I seriously know nothing, but it's a matter of DMing the right people, like being a bit mindful of who you are adding to your staff, which I think, I don't know if they're doing it aware or if it's just random, but like, I think they're doing it well enough. But yeah, I don't know. I do see it as a very male dominated. I looked into Magic. I think there's way more guys there. But I think you guys know more than me. So
any thoughts, Zenaide, with your kind of background and experience with Magic? Is there something that you've noticed that you think could be maybe corrected a little bit, or kind of any thoughts around that with your background?
As far as As far as just getting more women into the space?
Yeah, just having, I guess, a more diverse artist pool. And I think then bringing in other cultures and perspectives into TCG art.
I don't have much insight into this, except I do think it falls a lot on the art direction. So again, that does go back to Ravensburger and the choices that they've made. Because us as fans, I don't know how much influence we have. I can say that I want it, but in the past, some companies haven't listed. But I do think there's been a big push in the Magic community in the past couple of years. I would say ever since the Black Lives Matter movement for both, people of different races, and then also like trans individuals, females, non-binary, whatever gender you are wanting to relate to or pronouns. I think we're getting a lot more representation with that. Magic has done some things to give artists opportunities called Secret Lairs, which spotlights an art style which wouldn't usually fall into a typical Magic set because they usually have a very specific design that each one falls into, whether it's horror or like Art Deco. So I think as long as Ravensburger is able to create space, like right now I see a lot of the Disney art in Lorcana looking very storybook, and like I don't know how to design to say the right terms, but it has kind of that sort of classical Disney look to it. So I wonder, as the card game grows, if there where the space will be for different types of artists, which might include more genders and more things. I don't know. I think that's really, everybody has different things that they like. So the more we can include everybody and different stylings, I don't know.
You just triggered a thought. I know I'm not super familiar with other TCGs, but I know Pokemon over the years has done like a bunch of different mixed medium kind of art and stuff like that. And that would be so cool to see. Giulia, would you be interested in doing different?
Yes. Yes. Whenever. Tomorrow, yes, I'll do it.
I love it.
We do see a little hint of a different art feel in the new gift set that's coming out. The Disney 100 collection, right? They like kind of spun like a whole different.
Yes.
So hopefully that's a hint of good things to come in the future.
I am curious, Giulia, like Stephanie said about the Disney 100 set, they have Disney animators creating the cards. How would you feel about like a Disney animator taking one of your designs and kind of redoing it for a set? Is that something, like, how would you feel about that?
I think I'd be flattered. The names that they have picked for the 100 edition are huge names, like at least in the animation industry. When I saw those cards being out, first of all, like many of those styles I can recognize without reading the name. So for me, it would be a matter of like, oh my God, that person looked at my card and redrew it. That's amazing. I'd be happy, more than happy.
Cool.
I love this art and would love to see it, in an actual set at some point. So it's pretty amazing. I know that I think the Ravensburger team was trying to be pretty strict to the traditional like Disney style. I think they're calling it modern storybook.
That's fair. Yep.
But hopefully, over the years, as like Disney starts to trust Ravensburger a little bit more with their properties, we'll let them be a little bit more free.
I will say it does make sense to keep it classic starting off to get everybody in.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
It'd be cool to see like maybe Halloween we get like a totally different art style with like, Night or that Christmas movie with Jack Skellington.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh my God, Nightmare Before Christmas. How did I not remember? You know what I mean? Like that'd be a perfect
Haunted
time
Mansion.
to like maybe test the different art style with like a very specific card set. So hopefully that'd be really cool to see in the future.
Yeah. Okay. I think I have other questions. Does anybody because we have like 10 minutes before I have to go feed the baby, and I think Stephanie's got to get back to her kiddo as well. But does anybody on the panel have any other topics we want to discuss? Is anybody in the chat have any topics or questions? Like, please, this is a judgment-free zone. please ask away. And yeah, anybody? Yeah, absolutely. Zenaide.
I have a question for Giulia. Have you gotten to request any characters that you have drawn, or have they been assigned to you?
No, they've all been assigned to me. I think Ravensburger is open to suggestions. Like if artists have a specific thing they'd like, I think they'd be happy to hear it. But no, it was definitely all assigned.
What card would you want to do of all the Disney characters? What would be your like?
I keep on repeating this until someone gives it to me.
Do it. Say it louder.
I really want any Hunchback of Notre Dame or Fantasia, not the Mickey Mouse segment. Because I was really scared of that segment as a child. So I'm not gonna touch it. Thank you very much. I would like to do everything else. So.
All right, someone contact Shane and be like, Shane, give Giulia a Hunchback.
Can she have a Frollo, please, at this point? Because I need... Yes.
Sometimes he pops into an LGS around here, so I'll be like, all right, you see this clip, Shane?
Giulia, Amanda would like to know, what is your favorite card that you've designed thus far?
I think it's definitely Rafiki.
Yeah.
Hands down.
Eliza, I'm going back through the chat and not seeing your question. If you can paste it again in the chat, we'll chat about it. Any other questions that we have?
Yes, I will be fighting Kendall. I hope me and Kendall will do a whole
you could do a collab.
It's just the two of us.
Okay. Sorry, Eliza, I did see this earlier in the show. Okay, so this is a great question. If you had the ability to travel to any Disney animated world, where would you go?
Giulia, you answer first.
Not Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Pretty hostile environment. Yeah.
I think we all agree not the best place to go.
Beautiful, but no.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna bring back Fantasia. Like, let me have dancing animals and music. There's unicorns. Like, come on.
Yeah. Becky, Katie, thoughts?
This might sound basic, but Moana, like beach. I'll do coconuts all day. That's fine. Yeah. Like I don't need more than that. I'm not.
I was gonna say the same thing, so I have to come up with another one now.
Well, I was gonna say Lilo and Stitch, so we have the same vibe because I'm not naming the same movie, but I would like a little 626 like buddy to be around with me as I had earlier. So and tropical vibes for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll hang out with Pua the pig. It'd be so cute.
That's awesome.
Katie, thoughts?
I'm going to Wreck-It Ralph. I'm playing in the games.
That'd be cool. That would be so fun. Stephanie?
I would definitely do Big Hero 6. Yes, that is a Disney.
Yes.
Disney thing.
Yeah, that is Disney property.
Yes.
Not Pixar. Oh, gosh. I know. I was like, I'm thinking of Pixar things because I'm like big. So speaking of like Wreck-It Ralph, like I'm thinking like, I would love to do like Brave and go.
Oh yeah, but that's
Pixar.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, Inside Out, no Pixar. I think maybe I'll just do. You know what? It would be cool. I want to do Little Mermaid.
That'd be cool.
Then I could like breathe underwater.
Yes.
Yeah, I would like to do Little Mermaid with the ability to breathe underwater.
There you go.
Like Luca.
Luca. Yeah,
there you go. That would be fun. Oh, I love that movie. That's so cute.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a good one.
You.
Liam wants to know, or I don't know if this is him asking, but I guess this is like what world within Wreck-It Ralph?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Sugar Rush.
Sugar Rush post them getting rid of King Candy.
Right.
Yeah.
Like once the curse is broken. Okay. Awesome. I think we have a couple other questions for
There's a question from Jaunty and Steven.
Becky, Katie, I don't know if you saw Jaunty's note about your podcast.
I did. That was very sweet.
Okay, Giulia, do you know if cards you have done are are good as far as game mechanics? Or is that something that you care about?
I don't care about in the sense that I don't have the tools to understand if it's a good card or not, because I've never played. But I have been told that Genie is a good card.
Genie's a
I
good
know-
card.
Yeah, okay, good. Because it's difficult to find. Like, I only have a copy of Genie. I'm trying to get a second one. And there's someone that swears by the wardrobe. So I
That is
guess
true.
that's a good card.
Rafiki's actually a pretty okay card too.
Right, Rush is good.
I've got some good play out of him. Yeah, but Genie's like,
Okay, nice.
Yeah, Genie is great. I love Rafiki on turn 3. Does me right every time. Okay, awesome. Well, I think we're going to cut it like 5 minutes short tonight so that everybody can get back to kiddos that have them. Oh, wait, I was requested before we go, Zenaide, Liam would like to know the name of the pup.
Oh, the puppy's name is Halo.
Oh, like Halo as in the game, or just like Halo, like dink?
So she does have a little spot on top of her head. So
Aw.
it's like multiple reasons. She's also like a lemon, an all white beagle instead of tricolored with a black saddleback. And then also it is a magic reference from Streets of New Capenna if you want to go really deep and look that up. The Halo. Yeah.
That's a solid name.
Yes, fits her very well. She's very sweet.
She's so cute. Okay, well, thank you all so much for joining us this evening. Everyone in the chat, thank you so much for all of the amazing comments and engagement. Hopefully we can do this again sometime soon. So everybody, with that, I will say sign off catchphrase.